Action! Hot Private! This is the War on Comics. I'm Colin.
I'm Omar.
We're switching up angles. This feels fresh. Feels hot. Feels a little QVC.
A little QVC.
Today.
Hi. Look at these.
What are we getting into? Two weird dudes.
It is two weird dudes for sure. Very, I would say, outsider comics. Both of them kind of like, are they like satire on even like superheroes, or were they done earnestly? I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say earnest might be a really good word for it, but we'll crack into it. We're talking the question stories from the late 60s from Steve Ditko and the Omac, one-man army corps. In this war on comics, you need a one-man army, and that's this guy here.
Scripture for the war on comic.
And we're getting in the trudge through Cerebus continues, part 6, Melmoth.
Yep.
We're cracking into all this. We're cracking wise. I don't know where the camera is. See, I don't know if I'm like,
we're being
listen,
blinded
guys,
by the light.
You guys gotta listen to me when I tell you. I don't know where I'm at. I feel it's about right.
It's somewhere.
It's somewhere over there. I'm not avoiding eye contact. That's for dishonest people.
And that's for you.
No.
We're keeping eye contact for you this round.
So, yeah, you have anything to add?
I just, to kind of cue up this Cerebus edition, it's my favorite one so far.
Okay, see, I'm not crazy.
This is the best one, I think, for sure.
We're talking the bus.
The bus. Get on the bus.
It's bussing. Sarah bussing. Oh, don't cut that off.
We'll see on the other side.
All right, so you tell me what we're getting into first.
Okay, so my whole impetus, I gave you Omac to read this week.
Yes.
And this is actually one of the first Jack Kirby produced things I ever came across.
Interesting. This
was like before I knew that he invented everything. This was like authentic off of, this was when, like Archie comics and stuff were still being sold at like Vaughn's.
Right.
So there was a DC book that kind of like this. It was like, I don't know what they're called, but they're little like newspaper style kind of, I guess I'm not sure what you'd call it, but it had a bunch of different single issue kind of things. One of them was Omac. And for like a kid, it's just like the weirdest kind of shit ever. Like you don't see superheroes or like any type of comics at that point. I didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah.
It was really weird. It was so outside of like what I had grown up knowing what like superheroes were.
Right.
And so it was, to me, that was like the enough of a reason to say like it. Well, I guess why it came to mind is all the government is kind of burning itself alive right now.
Yes.
And it reminded me a little bit of Jack Kirby when Omac, and I got into a conversation with my friend of like, did Jack Kirby make this was he fed up with like the corporate like side of things, and was he making this as like, this is what's going to happen if corporations end up owning the world,
right?
And it like kind of like flipping the idea of like, yes, this is a superhero, but in context he's just kind of upholding what maybe corporations want, or like I'm not sure like where the morality
I think it's a little vague in general. Well, should we just get into that one? Yeah, let's just crack it open.
Teed it up enough.
It is yeah.
Is there any specific spots? Because I'm sure. Well, I don't know. Do you think maybe people want to see the intro a little bit?
Is there a bad page? Would be my question, because I don't think there is.
Look at that.
Yeah,
no, there isn't.
I had a kind of an epiphany reading this stuff, because I've never loved a Jack Kirby comic.
Yeah.
I've always respected, and like the art is never bad. It's always amazing.
Yeah.
But as a whole, I've never really could crack the code on
these guys,
what he was doing, and like the Marvel stuff is so kind of botched in a sense by Stan Lee and his contributions, where it's like, okay, why is everyone saying everything they're doing when I can see what they're doing? You know, that's just Stan Lee's writing style. So in those comics, I'm like, I'm watching this myth builder, and then I'm watching this other guy just kind of scribble all over his shit, where it's like, get out of the way.
Let him do his thing.
It's static. And then there's like, I mean, there's romance comics and stuff, which are like, you know, I think as impressive as they are from a craft perspective, maybe lack some of that dynamics, you know. And I think I understood what this comic was doing, because this is 1975. These come out, and I was like, what was happening in sci-fi in 1975? And I looked it up, and there was 2 movies. Because 1975 is like, it's post 2001, which is kind of like, you know, I understand it's like baby's first art house sci-fi movie, but it is like, I'm not going to have any 2001 slander in this house. It is
it's one of the best movies of all time,
and it's incredibly modern feeling. It's you know, admittedly, if you watch like King Kong or something, you know, it's like I'm watching an old timey movie. If you watch, you know, a Marilyn Monroe screwball comedy, you're like, oh, this is a different style of film than I'm used to watching. Or it's a different era or a different approach to storytelling. But you watch 2001, it's like, this is a current movie. I like to think if you watch Planet of the Apes, it's pretty similar. Like, yeah,
definitely.
I mean, obviously there's rubber masks and stuff, but story-wise and like the pacing of the film, it's not like you have to make apologies for that.
Yeah.
So 75.
The treatment maybe like of the stories and stuff.
Right. There's no like hard work in watching them in the way that maybe there's work in watching some older films with a different style of narrative. But 75, you have 2 films that are very, very important to me. You have Death Race 2000, and you have Shivers, Cronenberg's first movie.
Oh yeah, dude.
And I'm like, so in that context, like, this is not that kind of sci-fi. This is not 2001. This is not old monster movies. It is not, like, it is science fiction, right? It's a future. It's corporations. It's these weird sex robots. It's all these sci-fi touchstones, but it doesn't feel of its time at all. And it doesn't really feel modern, and it's not old. I'll save my observations till we get a little bit further in.
Go through,
but what do you have on this page?
So, for me, this is where this is what hooked me when I was a kid. This is the first issue. I think Jack Kirby's. I mean, I'm not the only one to say this. Jack Kirby is the master of the first issue. Of the hook. He like understands how to utilize the power or whatever, like the MacGuffins are and all that kind of like stuff you got to do to sell these comics. He knows how to integrate them into really good stories.
Yeah, it gives you the building blocks.
And for me, this was the first time you ever see kind of like they take Buddy Blank, who's this kind of, let's say like Roy Rogers or whatever, like early, is that the first like Captain America? He was like kind of a skinny like guy.
I think you're thinking of Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers.
Roy Rogers is a chain of fried fish.
Yeah.
All right. Slightly different Captain.
Saw that on the shelves the other day. But this kind of like this dweeb gets taken by the corporation because he saw something they shouldn't have seen, and he gets chosen by Brother Eye, which is a cybernetic satellite out in space that deems him pure of soul enough to become Omac, which is the one-man army corps. And in like my 7 or 8 years of age, I thought it was the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Right.
This to me was like, no fucking way.
And
boom.
It's so amazing visually.
Mohawk.
Like the power, the dynamics. I mean, this is like proto He-Man action figure poses,
definitely.
You know? And I say I'll use that as a transition to try to figure out these comics more, because I feel like I cracked the code, because Kirby's like a grown-ass man at this point. This is not mature storytelling, is my point. With all of everything I was getting at, you know, like Planet of the Apes has something to say. Death Race 2000 has something to say, and it's very like linear in how it says it.
Yeah.
Shivers is the subtext is very. It feels very mature. These are just. I'm only bringing these films up because it's like sci-fi of this period.
It's in the same space.
Yeah, Logan's Run is like the year after, which is again has points they're making. And I don't feel there's a point to this. I don't feel there's characters really. Will Eisner comics are out at that point. Like you can read, post underground comics boom. Like there's a lot of growing that comics are. It's not necessarily like pure kid stuff, and this is so kiddish. And people are like, well, is Kirby into psychedelics? Is he an outsider artist? Yada yada yada. Again, this is like a 60-ish-year-old man at this point, seen combat. Like this is
he has seen people die.
He is and
killed.
This is the kind of story he's telling, which again is not. And again, this is unshackled. There's no fucking Stan Lee scribbling over him. He is defiant of acknowledging anything in DC Comics. Batman isn't showing up. Superman isn't showing up. There's no continuity. There's no lore.
He's not bound by any man like Omac.
And it's not like trippy. It's outsider-ish in the sense that it's like odd, but it's because his art is so embedded into the just pantheon and like the way that comics are. He invented the language of comics in a lot of ways. Certainly superhero comics,
definitely
in terms of like the poses and all that. So like there's something very familiar about this, and it's so well crafted that you would never be like, oh, this is an outsider artist, or like, oh, the Darger guy. It's not a
Henry Darger.
No, this is
in selling
skill.
comics.
Well, I can never fathom why he would choose to tell this kind of story. Have you ever seen the cartoon Cool McCool streaming on Tubi?
Holy shit!
It's this page is reminding me of it. So it was actually, who was the guy that did Batman, or the guy that stole Batman? Not Bill Finger, but
Bob Kane.
Bob Kane. So it's a Bob Kane cartoon from the 60s. It is garbage, but it has the sickest fucking villain designs because they're all kind of Batman villains. Sick. And these guys are like straight Cool McCool style. If you're ever want to fall asleep, put on Cool McCool on Tubi and just rock out. But like, this shit is so awesome. Why is not a grown man? I'm a grown man. I'm still
this dude's old at this point.
Why is he drawing his bad guys like fucking
like almost like what's that movie that Kurt Russell was in where he's like trying to escape from LA? It's got that vibe.
Yeah, Carpenter's very bound to genre in a way, and like knows how to kind of do white knuckle storytelling, but like even with a movie like that, like it's kind of nudge, nudge, wink, wink, like
tongue-in-cheek comics.
I don't think Buddy movies. Blank and Brother Eye and all this shit, like there's a sincerity there. I cracked the code, man. Tell the people what.
So this other one, I picked this guy because it's so. Like you're saying, it's Jack Kirby. He carved out this language. He's got it down, nailed. The script he's internalized. Like, I think he himself is doing Marvel method, still stuck on that kind of vibe, like telling the story while making it.
Right. Every single page or every issue has someone's first issue, blah, blah, blah.
And all of that stuff, he's just drawing and thinking later.
Right.
He's doing like I think he's just going like boom, 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 just like.
And then punching in the dialogue and all that. Because it is. And it's not like we make all these, concessions because he's the best and because his stuff is visually so astonishing. Like, I mean, there's not a bad panel in this.
Yeah.
It's all visually amazing. But again, put yourself in the position of like a man his age with all the craft he has, with a blank slate, and this is the story he's telling.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned Barry Windsor Smith's Monsters recently. Barry Windsor Smith's probably the similar age as Kirby when he wrote this, and like that is a story where like, all right, this guy is telling the story he wants to write. He's doing what he wants to do. And there's a lot of older comics guys that have done like kind of, work, kind of run-of-the-mill work, and then they find themselves later, and then like in their middle age, they can tell the story they want to tell.
Yeah.
And it's awesome, right? And this is awesome, but it's also so bound by that conventional comic storytelling. Again, these guys popping up again. I'll never get tired. What? It's baffling to me, but he is not. He's playing with toys, and these stories they have the exact feeling, and almost all of Kirby's stuff, like at least like Fourth World and all of that I read, it has the feeling of a child playing with toys. It's not psychedelic, trippy. It's not outsider. It's not naive. It's like bang, bang, bang. Why a person would want to do that? I mean, tell me this isn't an action figure set.
For sure.
But this predates the 8, and I'm actually an ardent defender of like the kind of cartoons as like mini comics or mini toy commercials. Like they shit on He-Man and G.I. Joe for being that.
They were sick as fuck.
They were so good. And the reason they were so good is because it was all about character design. You have to, toyetic, I think they call it, when the designs are lend themselves to be turned into toys. So everything you're seeing in a G.I. Joe cartoon, which is absolutely invented for the purpose of selling toys, everything looks awesome in it, and it's, simple, stupid stories or whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to pretend that there's like a deepness to it, but visually, it's great. And it's like, just have, pour yourself a bowl of Cap'n Crunch and have a good time. Like these are
Saturday mornings.
These are action figures, but it was, but Saturday mornings that weren't like this was predates the 80s Saturday morning cartoons was Saturday morning cartoons.
This is 75.
And it's just, this has the stench of like a post He-Man, like kind of cash grabby sort of like, I'm Mr. Evil. Except it was before all that. And it like, again, I cannot figure out why they're like, it's not that deep of a story given, like I said, the context of like the kind of stories that were out there. Not to harp on the subject, but like Death Race 2000 is fucking scathing, and like very blatant and very like brutal in its portrayal of how the government uses these kind of blood sports and bread and circuses to distract the populace. Like, and not a profound statement by any means, but like it's so underlined 3 times you can't confuse it.
And it it's like plausible. It gives that kind of like nasty feeling that you feel like it's a plausible story, and that we're just a few kind of clicks away from getting there in a sense. Yeah,
and I don't feel like this is a particularly like scathing or like I don't.
Like that guy?
I love this. I love it all.
He's beating the shit out of this dude.
It's great, and it's like, and again, the fact that it has that childlike quality to it because it's like not bound to any kind of lore. This fucking brother eye bullshit is like,
that's the most insane. This is somebody this is like a psychotic episode. This is what we're seeing.
And like I said, it's like, wow, will I have a laser? Will I have a bigger laser? Well, oh no, I'm done. But don't worry, I got saved by brother I. It's like, it's not really these motherfuckers.
Yeah, that shit's crazy.
They're like maskless, and because they are supposed to represent any nation, and they're like,
it's a spray-on mask.
Doing like, what is it? Like they're like the ultra cops or something.
Basically, it's the moral compass of the world. These guys, they, by virtue of their job, they have to spray on masks, and their identities have been swiped from any system because they basically are like the World Peace Organization or whatever. They just like make sure that there's no monopolies, nothing crazy kind of going on. I mean, and Omac is their
enforcer. So I guess he's the cop and they're the judicial system.
Right.
Okay. And we'll just assume that the guys are getting, due diligence.
Yes. And so like we're to assume that they are keeping the world safe. Like, and this is like their Astro Boy or something.
Yeah, and why? And like, DC
I fucking want to keep showing off.
Of course, Splash pages. It's so good. And DC like plundered all of Jack Kirby's ideas for everything. I mean, I guess I have to kind of like
I'll start jumping to the
Stan Lee his dues in a sense, because like in contrast, those are on rails, and they do connect to a larger mythos and rules. Again, tell me this isn't like an action set. The way that these missiles work, it's a child playing with action figures and inventing the action figures and inventing like how they operate. I mean, we're
like 100% in the Jack Kirby sandbox.
And I mean, if I want, like, I don't know, I think it's kind of a little bit of a cop out to be like, oh, well, he was, like maybe this is like an escapist fantasy of someone who'd experienced PTSD and like he just wanted to create a world where, there was justice if maybe he didn't see a lot of that in his time. And like, maybe this is just a fun place to play and kind of regress emotionally, and you don't want to have stories of adultery and crime and all these kind of grimy things that are associated with more mature storytelling. Maybe you just want to fucking play with action figures, and that's all he's doing in these books, which is, again, astonishing visually, but I have a hard time like connecting in a sense. It seems like I'm like spying on someone while they're indulging.
Like this might be private work. Like, or to me, he's accidentally getting into something. Like I see this as a commentary on allowing corporations to be in the pockets of politicians and stuff. I don't know if he was thinking that in those terms or even like that nuanced, but in a weird way, I think he actually does have like a commentary on the world by accident. Like this is, if we see this as like sarcastic or like, I don't know if he did it in those terms. I think he's really doing this as like, this is fucking awesome. Like imagine this guy being able to do this. Like it doesn't matter what the reason is. Like we just want to see Omac be Omac.
It is pure comics too, because it's like, maybe animation could work, but
I don't know, man.
I definitely don't. I mean, a live action obviously would never translate. This is like pure comics for comics' sake. I'm not flipping on you. Did you have?
Oh no, I just put this guy because he's in the pit. Obviously, he's like just charging fire
hard. I mean, come on. If who but Jack can put these dynamic
100%.
poses? Just beautiful,
so cool,
beautiful splash page there, and like, we gotta.
This is like B-movie comics, maybe. Like this is around that kind of thing where it's like you just want to see the tropes a little bit.
And I guess it's exploitation in a sense. I mean, obviously he's still bound by the comics code, so it's not like grimy or gritty, but I don't know that grimy and gritty necessarily makes for a more mature story. And it's definitely not like overly complicated.
No,
but I can't.
We don't really even know what he's doing. Like,
it's pretty free flowing, and I don't think the myths are that good.
This was fucking sick.
Hard, and I think what does he call these guys? Like creepies?
They're so funny, dude. It's such a dumb name.
I think it might just be. I missed a page, but
no, they're called something like that, like the swarm of creeps or some shit.
It's gonna take too long to find out, and that just like a kid's story. It doesn't like make sense. Like it doesn't. go anywhere. Like there's this is just a cool story in general, right? They're like swapping out the young with the blood. They're they're kidnapping people and swapping their bodies.
This might be the most full story in the the whole series.
Yeah, and you could definitely say that this is like, this is commentary. I mean, you could argue, like if you want to get in the reeds of it, you could argue that this is what war is, right? It's old money kind of stealing young bodies, particularly post-draft, and like, using them to kind of as grist for the mill to perpetuate this kind of wealth machine that allows the old people to kind of have infinite influence and life to some extent. But they're shopping around. This is also like Q's wet dream, right? This is adrenochrome harvesting. This is what Hillary Clinton had on her emails, right? This is
I thought you meant Q from Star Trek.
No, my Q, the Q I follow. Where we go one, we go all. But so it's a very, very simple story. But he follows this guy around as like his informant, and he becomes his like sidekick of sorts.
It's interesting. The sickies.
Jesus Christ.
So they're the sickies. He sounds like an old ass.
Why? Again, how can I take this seriously as commentary or some grander statement if you're calling your little, like, your mutants the sickies? This
is almost proto Captain Planet.
For sure. It's
now that you brought up the Saturday morning thing. Yeah.
And it's all like, I don't know why. This is me being like a freak, but I hate this gimmick so much because he can do anything, this brother eye thing. There's never worry because he's never really in danger because they have this deus ex machina.
That's the word, definitely.
That can just solve anything for any reason.
It kind of takes off the pressure needed, I think.
Yeah, which is, again, it's just it's just kids. It's just like, I have a laser, we'll have a double laser, we'll have an infinity laser. Like, you just
it
say
keeps going
whatever
up.
you want.
Yeah.
And then, so like, I want to say, maybe it's this story or something. Like towards the end, he's basically backstabbed by this little guy.
Yeah.
And like, this is like he turned on him or something like that. And then they're fighting Dr. Scuba. And then you're just in this totally different area of
this with the fucking skis.
So good. Yeah, and the fucking Dr. Scuba is hard as nails. But yeah, he gets look at this little freak.
The design is pretty sick.
So good. Again, more toys to buy.
These are kind of like proto Mother Cubes.
Post Mother Cube. I think this is post. I think this is after the fourth
75,
World Saga.
Right?
Yeah,
that's what you said.
And
damn,
like this shit is so dope. It's so dope. I mean, I don't know. I'm half talking
smoking cigs.
I'm half talking shit on it, but I guess it's just my confusion of sorts. Yeah. And I just love, I'm not going to show you this Joe Kubert art of a Jack Kirby drawing and not fucking give it some shine. Because I love Kubert's stuff.
It's sick.
So good. And I think the comic after it is sort of negligible. But Jesus, it's so good looking. It's so cool. You know what? I'm going to draw
some pencils right here.
In a sense, it's kind of it's Billy Madison. I say this because I don't know how deep into the Sandler verse you get, but like
we're very familiar.
Like his movies kind of consistently are not surreal, but there is a level of unreality to them because there's, on one hand, in Billy Madison, which is I think his finest work.
Definitely.
There's a proper structure to the world. There's corporations. There's, the business is handed from father to son. The world operates in many ways as our world operates. But then your car can slip on a banana peel. Yeah. You can go off the cliff, and we just don't say anything about that after.
Happens.
Yeah. Like, there is kind of, and that's all for the sake of comedy, obviously you're not like scrutinizing it, but you watch enough of his movies, they all kind of have that same strangeness to them. There is a consistency to the Sandler verse. It is a real world, and it is also a very unreal world.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, OMAC is, there are corporations, there are sex bots, and there are, organ harvesting cartels, and there is a similarity to how our world works. But there's just this explosive, frenetic energy that kind of exists, I guess, in the same way that, the clown dying and coming back to life in Billy Madison exists just as a punchline. Get over it. Don't think about it too much.
Don't think about it. Yeah.
The OMAC, it exists just for the sake of action. It's don't think about it.
This is don't think about it, and this is think about it.
Way too fucking much. So you're like, let's do this Kirby book. It's kind of it's kind of like auteur driven, conventional comic, like superhero-ish stuff. So we'll take a look at that. I'm like, I've been looking at an excuse to get into this Ditko'S stuff. So I cracked open. This is a nice collection if you get it. I think this is the best way to get these Charlton comics. Nice. And this is late 60s, 67-ish. So he's invented Spider-Man. He's given us Doc Strange. Sick. We are deep into his contributions to comics, and now he is fucking freeballing. The Blue Beetle stuff is cool. The Captain Atom stuff is cool. You can read this whole thing cover to cover. You're going to have a good time. But the question, to me, I was like astonished at how well this lined up with OMAC, because in the same, they're both Marvel guys, off the chain and loose. And what do they do with it? It's so different. It's so bizarre.
It's weird.
I loved rereading these because I'd read it before and it's like, he's on a sick one.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm reading it more closely now and I'm like, oh no, he is on a fucking sick one.
Dude, he is unchained. Like you said, he is like, in a way I've never, so I like Ditko now and I can appreciate his work, but like I can't dive in as much as I do like with Jack Kirby.
Right.
And in this, it was, because I've read the Mr. A stuff.
Yeah.
And that was like banging you over the head with morality and kind of things like that. This is trying to this is kind of, hey guys, we need to wake up. Like there are some things going on.
I don't need to agree with you. I disagree with many of the tenets of objectivism. Like, I don't know. You ever read Ayn Rand stuff?
I think we did read Ayn Rand, like the Atlas Shrugged.
Okay, Atlas Shrugged. So that's a lot to have to read. But I liked Atlas Shrugged when I read. I was like out of high school and like I don't know, on my own. And it was like a very lonely time in my life when I just power read through it. And it really, I don't know, I got something. It was the right time of my life, I think, to get it. And I think it maybe is a little gross to read now. And the philosophy around objectivism is a little difficult to stomach, and obviously like the general like gross libertarians that it has spawned isn't a great thing. But I guess if you read it as just a work of sci-fi written by someone who came out of the atrocities of the USSR and like the bloody horrors of that communist takeover, and as a reaction to someone who is personally traumatized, not like, they're doing communism in our school, but like someone who actually got out of that shit and was like, oh my fucking God, here's how I want to see the world. Yeah. It's a trauma response, 100%. I think that whole philosophy is. And it's just, I don't know, interesting. Again, I don't think it's something that you need to like agree with or like how, like, it's not Nazi stuff. It's not fascist. It isn't. It's a little fascist, I guess, but
it's fascistic, but it's also, I think, a morally, not like a morally great thing. It's like he's not doing a moral story, a morality clause. I think he's like, guys, this is just, we need to think about our systems a little more. Think about the way that things are kind of, this is going against our humanity or whatever. Like, I think he's actually is concerned, like you're saying, with what's happening in society. Yeah. And he's bringing up what he thinks is an answer to that, I guess, to like the things he has grievances with in society of like this guy, the Sam Starr, he has his show, but he also has his sponsors that he needs to deal with.
Bro, this like, you know, I talked about the Kirby stuff as being like a little too Saturday morning. This is like, bro, you are telling a superhero story. And you know that, right?
It's dark. It is kind of like has a little darker tone than Omac a little bit.
Yeah, and I think part of like the sponsorship, these objectivist undertones throughout all this, overtones. It's just objectivist propaganda. So the philosophy that Ayn Rand spawned with her books, this is just a true believer preaching from the pulpit. This is like, you know, what those Jesus movies like God is Dead and stuff, like what those are to, you know, Protestantism. This is to objectivism. Whoa, yeah. I'm not going to speculate why Kirby or why Ditko was particularly drawn to this philosophy. If I had to guess, like just shooting something out, like if you're part of an industry that's as corrupt as Comix was, and you had as much robbed from you as Comix was,
and you produced all of that work.
And you get some art and some philosophy comes along that says, you know, 1 day's work, 1 day's pay.
Yeah.
Like there's like to rip someone off is like the greatest sin you could do. Everyone who steals from another person is, you know, subhuman.
Yeah.
Maybe that work would be that philosophy would be a little more appealing. But regardless of why he's drawn to it, and how he sublimates that philosophy, how he turns that philosophy into comics is fascinating. I'll start with our titular question here. In his day job, this is the fire and brimstone pulpit stuff that rustles the ire. I want to read his speech because I found this so fascinating. The hunt for Lou Dicer continues, and as usual, you, the enraged public, wonder how a leech like Dicer and his ilk can thrive so readily among you. How many of you willingly support Dicer's illegal gambling operation? How many of you frequent his gambling tables or play a number daily? You don't need their kind. They need you. Only you can keep them in business. They can't exist without you. Part of my responsibility lies with you. You are the willing partners of Dicer's crimes. So, first of all,
oh my God, dude, he's going after him. He's going after the public.
Like I forgot, like, you know, because objectivism is ultimately a conservative philosophy. Like it's not necessarily based in like, you know, traditional family values necessarily, but like it's not hard to believe that like money as the kind of ultimate signifier of work, and work as the ultimate kind of righteous path, and individual excellence as this paragon. That's like also the background of, you know, Reaganism and like all that kind of like basically conservative philosophy. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. You are the ultimate thing.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the idea of objectivism in terms of like, hey, you, the individual, have a lot of power. You know, you can stand up against the horde, you know, and that's this kind of hammered down over and over again throughout this individual person versus the mob, you know. And also weirdly hammered in throughout this is this idea of the people with the money being like the best guys.
Yeah, somehow they all are always morally good.
Yeah,
they choose the right thing.
Because the head of the network is like, look, he's my guy. I love this dude. And the sponsors love him, and all of his sons and his cronies. These guys are always trying to tear him down because he calls people out, and they always say he goes too far and everything. And then he moonlights as the question, which is a fucking cool design.
Sick.
And he kind of like is able to dig up dirt on all these people. In this case, it's like the gamblers. But I think it's so fucking funny that like this kernel of conservatism, of individuality, and all that is like, gambling is wrong.
Yeah, seriously.
You should, you should personally not be corrupt and, you know, cut corners.
Yeah.
And we are in, you know, this talk about the world burning down. It's like, what the fuck is the goddamn president launching a fucking cryptocurrency, if not the ultimate gambling.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like you see how conservatism like has kind of warped over the years towards like, how are we even? How is this a kernel of the same thing? It's like, so you know, he's lecturing everyone on their on how immoral they are, but look at them, the masses, these idiot buffoon hordes just falling asleep, and then ends with this kind of non sequitur.
This sequence to me feels very Dan Klaus.
Yeah, like, for sure.
I know Dan Klaus's work more than I know Ditko, and this feels like even the tone of it just. It's getting, this dude is screaming into a void.
Yeah. Like, and they're showing him
the void
for sure. So here's
so
the guy, sick. Basically like, you know, a vulture light, which, hey, listen, if anyone has the right to rip off the vulture, it's a motherfucker, an inventor of
he made him, right? Yeah.
So, you know, respect.
This is very much an analog of Spider-Man.
I mean, one guy with, I mean, I guess because Spider-Man has powers, but like it's still mostly his, like the webbing is his gadgets, you know, and there's that level of anonymity to it. So it's not removed from the what you call it, Spider-Man premise, except instead of being like, you know, Stan Lee being like, kids can relate to college kids. You know, now that he's off the chain, he's like, you know who children will respect is a news broadcaster. That's the other thing, you know, like when
news, that's
the respect of the media versus like, you know, the dismantling of it, which we've seen.
Who was on TV at this point? Kind of like I don't even know. Yeah, I'm just bringing it up because like that could have been some like 12 or 13-year-olds like like moral compass is like Walter Matthau, whoever is on that.
And this is 1967. This is Vietnam is happening. Like
it's a dark time.
Free love, fucking in the streets. Post what do you call it? Post civil rights. All this.
Yeah.
And this stuff does nothing. This feels like it's from the 40s.
Yes.
I mean, it's rooted in a philosophy that comes from that era.
This one in particular looks like a Plast comic, like the ones that we read. This one felt most like a Plastic Man / Dick Tracy mashup.
Right, except Plastic Man is like fun, and this stuff is so fucking awesome. I love these like fashion. This is like Sears catalog sketchbook. And this
dude.
You know, I mean, it's about the power of the individual, right? And there's so many of these panels that are like one man determined and turning away from the mob that's trying to tear him down, and they're telling him what he can do, and he's walking off undeterred, square-jawed, pudgy, gross, ugly, deformed people. And it's like, you'll see that in like actual fascist art too, those same kind of tropes. You know, like it's pretty dangerous to have like square-jawed, powerful, good-looking man as like your ultimate symbol of power and goodness. There's like, you know, kind of
there's some undertones to it.
Yeah, I don't think Ditko was on that level at all. But it is, I guess, just interesting, the parallels there. And this is like, you know, like he's haunted by the question, just mocking the view from inside the diver's outfit as he's trying to bribe him. Because of course, if you accept money for work that you didn't do, you are the ultimate lowest form of human, and that is not what humans are meant to do. We are to achieve the highest form in all regards
of excellence for yourself as a human. You must become your potential.
Yes, absolutely. To do less is to squander. And if you bear the burden of the world on your shoulders, you must shrug and let them fall away.
This was the silliest kind of Batman gadgetry kind of going on.
And there is fun stuff happening. It is thick though. You cannot separate this from the philosophy. Like it is too much propaganda to just be like, oh, it's a funny, silly little thing. I'm sure everyone's heard to death the Ditko Stan Lee on-page battle of Spider-Man and the protesters
lifting
here.
Up the fucking...
Or I'm talking about the protesters, the issue that made him quit,
right.
He was like because a protest is, of course, the ultimate mob rule, and the grouping of people should never determine what's right. It should be the most powerful, most inventive, enterprising individual. And what's the opposite of the individual? This worrisome mob. So here, whereas Stan Lee was trying to like soften the blow and make Spider-Man not look like a fucking dick when everyone is protesting on the street, here Ditko gets to just do exactly what he wants.
Wow, that's funny because I didn't realize that.
It does pop up twice, so I have to kind of bring it up. Here's some good like just pure objectivist philosophy. You're inhuman. You can't leave us here. You're no right. It's your fault we're here. You must save us. It's your duty. Duty to whom? I sure don't wish those two
any luck.
So he's fucking, chase these mobster guys or whatever the hell they are. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, literally. He doesn't give a shit.
He's basically leaving them to die. And they're like...
They do die, I think, right?
I mean...
It's just left up. Yeah, it's a question.
They flow downstream. But, whereas like Batman or something would have to understand that he has the duty to them, like this whole thing of objectivism where no one owes another person their life and duty is just taken to such a stupid, pedantic level where it's like, save us, you have to save us. I do not have to actually. Your fate was elected by yourself, and I, an individual with powers of the individual.
Yeah. It goes down to like he just has to keep pushing the narrative.
It's pure. He cannot get out of this philosophy and this propaganda. God fucking damn it! I love Steve Ditko so much. I love his art. I love that little freak. I wish he left us more art. It's so fucking awesome.
Dude, all this stuff is so sick.
And like
his like posture work or whatever that's called.
It's definitely it's so different than Kirby. It's not super dynamic necessarily, and it's not exaggerated. Like again, this is Sears catalog sketch, like fashion sketching, but like again, the mob, as useless as they are against the individual, like this is fucking powerful shit.
He knows what he's trying to say. I think he knows exactly the message he's trying to convey. He's just to the people. He's trying to not dumbify it down, but to be able to share that message with a large public. He's trying to make it.
Of course, this is so. It's all chick tracks. It is pure
chick.
It is pure. Yes. You are going to hell for not believing in what I believe. This is the opposite of a splash page. I love this spread. This tells you everything you need to know about these comics. Yeah. I urge you. God, I love this shit so much.
Click pause and read this.
Look at how much fucking a third of each panel is just all fucking dialogue, no exposition. It's just, and this whole sequence is the people that are wishing this guy bad. And of course, this imagery is like perfect. Individual walking away from the mob. It's repeated so much throughout this. They are trying to take him down by getting to his sponsors. His sponsor is this cola guy. He knows that the cola guy is in cahoots with this criminal. And of course, he has so much respect for the law, which is the law is just right because it's right all the time. And that's, just weird. Again, very fucking ironic given our current system where it's like there's not a person that's done more anti-law in general than an old boy in office right now.
He's testing some boundaries.
Like, the law is like optional, I feel like at this point. Like we
alternative.
Could just, we have some, like the idea of the law as being the steadfast thing.
I think with his subscription to Human Life, he was able to bypass all the boundaries we have.
Checked out. It's his, but so he does. So our guy, the question, he doesn't want to go into business with this guy because he's a criminal. Like this posture, just firm, upright. Yeah. I stand up straight. I have good posture. You are a schlub. You have bad posture. I will not accept your money. And so it puts him in this bind where he has to get. What the fuck kind of a plot is this?
Dude, it's insane.
All the comics you've ever read, particularly comics by the guy that made. Like, superhero. This is a superhero comic.
This is supposed to be a superhero.
Have you fucking ever had a sponsorship plot line.
I mean, this is the Mystery Men film, right? Like, that's what that movie was about.
It's trying to get... Oh my God. It's
wild. It's wild because you have to still suspend your belief of like, this is supposed to be set in the real world somehow.
Well, and it's like so like...
Or like a reflection of I don't know.
And these whole here's another one. Just look at all of this fucking text on the page.
Yeah.
There's all suits. This is a guy who is one of the best comic designs I think in existence. They still use the question. There's there's like Denny O'Neil runs of the question. He's in fucking that Justice League Ultimate that one show. Was that the Bruce Timm show? You ever see that? Cartoon
from back in the day,
like
Justice League Unlimited.
Justice League Unlimited,
yeah, definitely
one of the best comic shows ever. And like the question shows up in that, and he's funny as shit.
Watch it again.
They like this character is around forever.
He's a beloved sort of comic character in a way. Like,
and they look at how not showing up in this fucking book he is. Look again, the individual, firm, determined. Walking forward,
always kind of nose up a little bit.
Like, for sure, stiff upper chin. He's surrounded by his people who are fucking in his corner fighting. Yeah. It's like
they love him, man.
They love him.
They're doing all this work to make sure that they just got his back.
Yeah, and like in the sandbox of this story,
so fucking sick.
Bro,
just the design, man. We are lucky to be able to see this kind of stuff.
Those fucking hands are so cool.
I don't know, and like the chick track thing does gel with me in terms now of all this. It's like even this design is like he's doing just enough to be able to tell you this story with this person.
I mean, it's literally just it's less. It's taking away the design is he took away the face.
It's like those fucking weirdo these guys.
Yeah,
I wonder if Jack Kirby saw this and then was like, yeah, I could use that.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole. I mean even Spider-Man is Spider-Man because it's easy to draw that circle, and block everyone out. They're just reoccurring motifs. I can't not see it, but it's so cool.
Sick.
And whereas with a lot of the Kirby Fourth World stuff and his solo things, it's like on one hand, if only you got to do more, if only you got to see more, maybe he was going to turn it into something. That's kind of what everyone always posits with that stuff, is that it was just ended before.
Would he?
That's kind of it. Like, I'm sorry, but Kirby doesn't have that
I love Jack
Tolkien quality that people want to ascribe to him. As far as, I mean, character design, myth building, sure, but like, does he? I don't know if he needs more. I would read phone books of this crazy kooky bullshit, and it would be miserable to trudge through, and it would be repetitive, and I would love every fucking second of it.
It'd be worth trying to carve out what he's talking about.
It's not that deep. It is not that deep. It's right on the nose. It is just, I dare say, stupid. Like, your ideas, you don't want to say these things, but it's a very stupid philosophy.
Yeah.
And you see, again, I don't think it is. I mean, libertarianism isn't necessarily conservatism. Objectivism isn't necessarily conservatism. I think in a lot of ways, I don't think either groups necessarily do enough to distance themselves from that right-wing kind of BS, and they've both been used, unfortunately, to those ends. And like, I think it's unfortunate because I can kind of like say, well, I see the vision, I understand it, but it is dumb. It is small-minded. It is like. And there is nothing more small-minded, I think, than like what we get in this story, which is the best. This
was my favorite.
This is where it all comes together, because you've been reading all these Blue Beetle stories, which are just
so fucking
a lot more like, just fun superhero stuff. It's not as propaganda filled.
Yeah. He's kind of cutting loose with these stories.
You now see the crossover of the Blue Beetle and the fucking Question meeting at a fucking museum. And like, there's nothing more
The Ditko'S.
stupid, let's say, than the dismissive conservative viewpoint of like, well, my kid could paint that, you know, like that kind of bullshit. Like, you know, towards
It's so sick.
it's
Like,
and like to see it like played out with such confidence and
Yeah.
such like chest out, like, no,
I love
this
it.
is bullshit.
I love
Look at
this
this
shit.
fucking stupid art that these idiots like. They are dumb.
Yeah, like this whole bullshit that he's spewing out.
Yeah, which is like all these fucking art critics, you know, and they're like
Oh, of
defending
course.
their postmodernist bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just demoralizing and horseshit. No thanks.
Wow.
I prefer good art. Drawings of strong guys.
Oh, it's so
really?
good.
Oh, really? You, the guy who draws strong guys.
So good.
Huh, for a living.
Yeah.
Your personal preference just happens to be that guys who draw strong guys.
And like this, like he's a clean cut fellow, you know, he doesn't jive with these new ideas.
And these ruffians over here versus these other like-minded fellows.
Yeah. Oh, he's like us, man. You know,
Unhinged. This is,
that's a punk.
these are hippies. These, like, you know,
Yeah.
watch fucking Wood. Like, this is like, watch Woodstock and you can see what real hippies are, or whatever it is, whatever the fashion is of the time. And here's this psychopath that's like, yeah, I know what a hippie looks
Yeah,
like.
look, this is like Frank Zappa's fucking Flower Punk. Like that song is playing in the background in this dude's head right now. Like, this is what I see. I like, what's that? Is it Zorlak or something like that? Or there was like a brand from back in the day.
I know what you're talking about. The shut up and play kind of thing.
All that
shut up and
shit.
skate. Yeah.
Did they use
or
this?
the Church of Bob.
Church of Bob. That's what
that
I'm thinking
weirdo
of.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's exactly that, but again, it's all from that similar kind of iconography.
It feels.
No, thank you.
He's just like, no.
Nope.
Talk to the hand, bitch.
This fucking sub. And again, it's like,
it's so sick.
it's so strange because like that, again, objectivism is directly born out of like this totalitarian communist perspective, and the survivor of that kind of like, well, what's the most opposite of fascism we can come up with, or of that totalitarian government can we come up with? It's the individual, you know. But here you have this like, this is kind of like you know, phrenology, where you're like, oh, well, look at his skull shape. Of course he's a dumb idiot.
Yeah, dude.
Versus what a good person looks like.
Yeah, even this guy. I mean, he's got like some weird.
Yeah, the art critic, the useful idiot of this, you know, organization. Yeah. So this schlub, he relates to the, what do they call him? The man? What's his name? The everyman.
Or our man.
Our man.
Our man.
Because he's like everyone who's just useless and led by his heart and has no intellect, and like the Blue Beetle in all of his glory. I mean, again, let's take a sidebar of my fucking pulpit saying, fucking awesome fighting, just good, great, like
crazy figures, like the movement.
But it's also like very, what am I looking for? Like legible. Every action,
yeah.
Every swing connects. It's powerful. It's dynamic. It's everything you want in an action scene. And then we're back to, like, again, not to fucking harp this down, but the R man decides to, you know, destroy these statues. And these statues, they're so important, you know.
So
pure
funny,
fucking
man.
chick track here. We're with you, man. Down with the chains of conventions. Our authority, or down with the conventions of authority. Man must live as he feels. Ha ha. Smash away. We're with you, man. Yippee. Bro,
it's so good.
Unhinged.
He's laying it on thick right now.
And you know, meanwhile the Beatles like going in for the kill, but he's taken out by the mob. Again, just craft. Like,
whoa, man.
The background is, what do you call it? Your background is orange, your foreground is blue and colored. They're all one color. He's orange and orange and blue are opposite ends of the color wheel, blah, blah, blah. Boring stuff, but like also, that's how you fucking do it, you know, seeing the foreground action in the background.
Dude, now that you pointed out, it is very much like the man versus the mob.
Yeah, and it's obsessively so. More protests. Obviously, protests are so lame and not what people do. These people who have it together, you know, they're sophisticated and they appreciate these they appreciate good art, which happens to be
caliber
buff dudes.
It just so happens.
Yes, our man back at it, and then here's the divide. Here's the question cameo. And we'll see if he shows up as the question or not. And then here's the mob, ugly and hideous, and
same panel.
Dare they have their collective bargaining power, if you will?
Yeah,
it's like even when you're looking at these panels, it's like these pristine faces versus the unwashed mob.
It's just all of these carvings, like these faces are heroin like faces out here.
It keeps going, and you know, it's. I guess I just love that I'm going to shoot him. No, you're not. Sure.
This is where it leads into the question story.
Yeah. So, and so they, they eventually, the Blue Beetle are in combo with the question, defeats them and has a little altar there. And, mediocre art is defeated. And as if that's not enough, you have basically the same story told in a different way.
Yeah. This
postmodern schlub who's like, into this abstract art. And each story is better than the next. Again, I would kill for
He's
more.
Just perfecting it almost. Like he's kind of getting the differences. That's like some Mark Gonzalez shit. Like He's kind of getting the message like more and more carved out.
So
as the stories go.
I think this one, she shows this art critic who loves all this post. Look at this art. It's a small guy being crushed by things because that's how we are. We've got it so bad. And she's like, well, what do you think of this? And it's like straight up like
that's some
Nazi propaganda. Burly white man who has carved out his place in the background, which of course, this is me being brainwashed by socialism to think that this kind of artwork is like bad. She shows it to the critic, and the critic's revulsed. How dare you show me this?
Yeah,
like as if this is how the world works.
No way, man.
Like a critic seeing that, like that. Again, this is what critics do. They just take what it is, like, oh, that's an interesting piece of what it is. A little juvenile. Moving on. No. This guy isn't like,
he has a physical reaction.
He has a visceral reaction to the question. I forget the fucking.
Like he just throws him in there.
But basically, he covers his fucking house with this painting and keeps fucking blasting him with it. So everywhere he looks, he sees the painting of this fucking.
He becomes cursed by the painting. By the image of what I think is the question's ultimate image, I guess.
Yeah,
that's what his vision is.
Of man's ability to have dominance over nature, walking away from the crowd, the back turn, and then ultimately the image of this fucking painting drives this guy mad, but he can't break it.
Ice pick.
It's too good. The art is too good for him to try.
It breaks his feeble little mind. It's so crazy.
Love it. It's so good.
That was one of the Blue Beetle story was my favorite. Like this was, I've never seen any of this question stuff at all.
Yeah.
And I can see why like Jaime Hernandez and Dan Klaus and all of them love Steve Ditko.
Yes.
It's like, you see it in their work. Like this stuff is so outside of superhero comics for the time. They're so like, they're not ahead. They're not like they're not forward thinking comics in a way. They're almost like morality stories in like, I don't know. They are sci-fi, but it's not like, it's not like how we think of sci-fi. Like
it's morality within the confines of this philosophy, and there's no, I don't know, getting out of that philosophy when it's so blatant, and so overstated, I guess you would say.
It is. It's like the audience, I don't think is well suited for what they're trying to do. Either of these guys, in a way.
You can tell. I don't know. I'm not the most mature guy in the world.
Same.
So like,
this is my favorite by the story of the whole thing. This is an Alex Toth.
So cool.
When I reading this whole thing was so like it was eye opening for like my Steve Ditko kind of like pondering all these guys. Like I like to think about what the fuck they were doing, like what they were feeling during this time and all this.
And that's kind of what I was saying with the Kirby stuff. Like to me, I don't feel like I learn anything about Kirby from Kirby's comics. I learn way too much about what's going on in Ditko's mind from Ditko comics, and it's appealing. I mean, that's what I look for in any art. Like who are you?
Yeah.
Like what's going on in there? What you got in there? That's, I think, if there's, a highest value or point that the humanity has, it's like, share yourself through art, like, let me see who you are with what you do, and it's like, whether it's good or bad, or I agree with it or not, like, I just kind of want to like see what's in that noggin. I don't, maybe it's because I'm kind of malformed socially and I'm just like bad at talking to people and kind of don't care.
Well, it's also like it's a chance to really get a filtered view of the world in a way. Like how has society or like being a human affected that other person, that are they able to like, is that a message that we can take anything from, or like just what are you about,
right?
And like through this, I mean, if
that's your metric of art, like Kirby shows you what he's about, and I believe that he believes everything he's saying from the bottom of his heart. It's sincere, it's honest, it has meaning to him. I don't think that's true of like, I think that's why superhero comics are kind of a drag for the most part, is like, as much as I might enjoy, a nice New Mutants run or something, like I'm not really learning anything about.
We've read those stories.
Yeah.
Done better probably, like in other ways, for sure.
And there's something fun and calming and nostalgic and all that about it. But like, you compare that to, quote unquote real comics, the Eisner school or whatever. And it's like, oh yeah, this, you read Mouse and it's like, okay, yes, everything else is kind of lacking. But I don't know, to me, when I can get something more than just form out of a superhero comic, when it stops to just be like, oh, this is the kind of white knuckle storytelling I like, or this has cool art. Like when I can get that kind of like personal feel of what a person's about or into from their work, and it's in the confines of, I got to punch the bad guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's cool, and to me these Ditko stories, there's not a whole deep bench of them, but the ones that exist are just so great. I'm so happy to read them.
They're filled with his energy. They're like filled with Ditko at like, he is pushing his style, or he is just like
screaming from the pulpit, man. It's propagandizing,
dude. It is. And I think this is also sort of propaganda, but I don't know if Jack Kirby really had like that, this sort of,
it's a little, I think Kirby's stuff is more artful. It is not necessarily more sophisticated. It's not much less sophisticated either.
Right.
It's just maybe, I don't know, coming from a more pure place. I guess put it this way, like if you were to share a beer, as they say, if you were to go out and get coffee with one of these guys, I don't know that you would choose, based on these works, I don't know that you would necessarily want to hang out with Steve Ditko. Seems like it would be a bit of a drag.
It might be a drag, dude.
Whereas Kirby is like, what? It's just like, this guy seems like maybe he compartmentalizes in a way,
Yeah.
you know, like whatever this action bombast stuff is just what it is.
You do hear about his like how his wife would say he screams at night. Like he have you heard this?
Yeah, I think from the wars.
Yeah. Like he saw some shit, man, and it's not talked about. And like I've been I recently dove into the Rude Dude's channel, Steve Rude. He's starting to post a bunch of stuff that's actually super, super informative.
Interesting.
Every video he's like showing off his Jack Kirby. Every video is Jack Kirby worship.
Yeah.
And it's like he just has the most information I've heard from a first person account, because he would visit the dude.
Yeah.
And I think Jack Kirby gave him the nickname, the Rude Dude. There is something like that. So he is a fucking, this is his idol.
Uh-huh.
And during like that's something he said that his wife would tell him, no, when he's awake, you know, he stays awake most of the day, because at night he can't sleep because sometimes he screams and he doesn't want to scare the kids.
Yeah, so he's just burying his nose in his fucking work.
Steve Ditko also was in the service, right?
Really? I know so
like
little
that.
About Ditko.
He did some sort of service as well. I don't. Most of the greats in comics went into service.
I think there was just so much of what that war was, and it's I don't know, maybe this is my own mythologizing or something, but I am convinced at this point in my life that is the framework of the 20th century, is that these guys went to war, the biggest war, the fucking gnarliest war.
Yeah.
They came back completely fucking traumatized. It's no framework of help, you know, there's no
fucking healthcare back then.
Yeah, no framing of like, oh, you have PTSD.
Yeah.
Nothing. Just stiff upper lip, chap, you know, go back to work now. And they had a shitload of kids, and those kids were neglected and abused and dealt with alcoholic parents who were fucking drinking themselves to death to avoid screaming at night, and all this fucking trauma in a world that had zero framework of support. And those kids were fucking the worst people on earth because they had no fucking framework, you know?
Yeah.
And so
it's so true.
Their approach to life is like, I should keep all my stuff. You know, so of course the boomers are just these fucking rotten to the core of their soul people who just want to hold on to everything.
They saw a dark part of the life.
And they were, you know, it's the worst combination of being raised in ultimate prosperity, because that generation was unique in the sense that, like, post-Depression, they didn't grow up in that fucking scarcity of the Great Depression, and they did grow up in the economic boom of us whipping our dick out and slapping it on fucking the country of Japan in the form of a nuclear weapon, and then looking at everyone else in the world and saying, who else wants this?
Yeah.
And then, oddly enough, everyone seemed to give us what we want. And so we were able to have this wealth of prosperity, but a generation that was raised by, you know, just fucking traumatized, scared fucking people who, and so inevitably the children rebel or double down or whatever, you have it. And so they're raised in this prosperity, like this economic prosperity, where they get to buy houses for, you know, $20. All those fucking stories you hear are 100% true.
Yeah.
But then also just neglected, have no fucking idea how to raise children themselves, have some, and they're just like, what the sorry, my parents are fucking animals. Like, and then, you know,
like, what do that's this answer. This is like where you get kind of in that.
I mean, my other, I guess more beyond the 20th century storyline. I just feel like the framework of human existence is to try to find meaning in an inherently frightening and terrifying world. And so these structures of ideology where the individual just must be the greatest and innovate, and the world should worship at them, and money is actually great, and people who have money, they should be respected because that's the law. All that shit is, again, trauma response. It's like a little girl, literally, Ayn Rand, has her fucking farmland stolen by the state and is fucking run out of the country to avoid fucking the breadlines and shit. Yeah. And so she thinks that money and individualism are awesome because she's been, traumatized by this collectivist, terror. And she imparts that on impressionable people who love the idea of rugged individualism. And ... you have the Reagan era, which just fucking creates this corporate hellscape we're still feeling the reverberations of, and ultimately, leads to what I would say is the erosion of any kind of democracy or like free society. It just
the rights are not with the individual as much as this wanted it to be.
Yeah, no, because how can they possibly be? You have to have fictional frameworks in which this stuff makes sense because, like I said, we're living in this time of pure individualistic, not hedonism necessarily, but where whoever can pull the wool over whoever's eyes the most, and whoever can, work around these systems the best, prospers the most, and they're considered right to do so and necessity to do so. Can you imagine a fucking business magnate saying like, "Oh, I should just pay the taxes I owe"? No, it's all like fucking a good chunk of business acumen, this great fucking wisdom, wise, superhuman attribute that objectivism would give these people is most of their CPU is just figuring out how to hide their fucking money.
Yeah, it's done in like how do we figure out? We tell everybody to play this game so that we don't have to play the game. Like, how do we they are trying to get people in the rat race and valuing the rat race in a way because it'll just be good for you as a human to do good things and be nice and and I think it's for both of them. It's like this thing of a way to cope in a really dark place, in a dark world. This is how you cope, and you're like, I went to war and I did. It wasn't for naught. Like this is my takeaway. Like this is why I scream at night.
Yeah,
because the world can be good, and like this is the way. Like this is kind of giving like, is it Kickass? Is like that story, Mark Millar story, where like they're like vigilante superheroes in a way.
Yeah, and the little kids.
Something like that.
I've never read that one.
I haven't either, but I remember the movie, and it was giving me those vibes of like it's a really dark look at superheroes, or even there's one with Ed Harris, I think, where he was a vigilante superhero, and he was kind of like he had mental health issues, but he thought in these terms. And you have to, I think, if you're going to start donning a costume and beating the shit out of strangers at night.
It is that A is a black and white thinking is kind of like, I don't know, maybe you have to be a true believer to write great superhero stories, because you have to believe in right as a way of right, and justice is this objective that exists. And I don't know, I guess the real takeaway from these is it's just, you do see the author's takes in them, and I don't think you necessarily get that in the comics by committee, run-of-the-mill superhero stories. So even if these aren't like profound stories, even if you find yourself vehemently disagreeing with them, the philosophies that are there, if any at all, they're just great, I think, to see the creativity behind it and get a sense of the creators.
Yeah.
And it is, well, I would argue, part of that corporate plan to kind of make comics be devoid of any kind of thumbprint. You don't want any rough edges. You want, just whatever. You want to just be able to have mindless drones pour out slop in the trough for the weekly warriors to come and keep their subscriptions up. That's the dream that the comics companies would have.
Keep milking it and like just let it run dry when it does or whatever.
But this is a direct opposite of that. These are comics that could not be made by anyone but these people. And they're very different comics. Very, very different comics.
So worth looking into, though. Both of them in like their own right. I'm definitely going to look for either this collection or just Charlton comics in general. I didn't know they went that hard.
Yeah,
honestly.
And of course, you know, I guess you have to say that this is like this is the Watchmen lineup, right? There's the Owl, there's Rorschach.
Oh and,
Captain. What's it? Oh, Dr. Manhattan.
Or whatever.
Yeah,
Dr. Manhattan.
And it's like, you know,
holy shit.
Rorschach is just like the caricature of the question, but it's also like this Alan Moore being like, this is who this guy is. If you want to really talk about this kind of vigilantism, that's what it looks like. And, you know, your Blue Beetle is right down the middle. And then like, okay, what's it fucking really look like if you can transmute atoms and you can have control over that? What does that look like? How does that shape the 20th century?
Dude, I didn't know these were the Watchmen.
Yeah.
I didn't know this was the Watchmen at all. It does have its own world. Yeah,
it doesn't, I mean, you don't have to necessarily see them. It's like a side note or whatever, but it is.
Yeah, but it kind of adds a little to them now. It does, like, in a weird way, feedback like, holy shit, okay.
Perfect response to that kind of storytelling. Yeah. So there we go.
Well, I think we've waxed on with these guys. Pick them up, guys. This shit was fucking cool.
Part 6.
Now on to the real deal.
I love that you said this is your favorite. This is my favorite too.
So this is where I think everything started to make sense to me, of his storytelling, of his direction. Every story, I didn't know I needed this story, first of all. The Oscar Wilde one is like, I don't know too much about him. And getting like the notes in the back solidified everything. But there's A, B, and C stories happening here all over the place. And the Cerebus story is just right. You don't get much Cerebus in this. And it's the best. It's one of the best stories.
Yeah, because you're learning about this world.
To make sure this is tracking, because
I would cry.
Imagine,
all
I would be
that
so
was not
pissed.
Recording.
All right,
we are
so good.
We have not had a moment like that yet.
I do not want this one to be fucked up, because this is definitely my like this. We're back.
So you have to see the world, and again, it's the burden of the Cerebus enjoyer that, you know, I can't give someone this comic and say, just read this. This is the best one, because it's like, you have to know that this is a post-Cyranus, which is like a theocratic takeover of East or Astarcion, the greater world. You have to know that they've kind of whipped all the men into being polite, good little boys, and like we're sort of exploring what that world looks like, given that we had that rude awakening in Jakka's story, where you get this little kind of bottle tale that's happening in this little isolated world. Now it's like you're in their society, and you're seeing how it looks, where, you know, I don't know, maybe Sim being a little maybe dipping his hand a little too much, like, look at what these women are like when they have to
when the rules are going their way.
Yeah, they get to be kind of vibe. You get to be rude waitress. The feminists ruined my my order at the
or like just has so much indifference to this dude.
Yeah, and of course, like, as he gets angry, the Cyranus, the totalitarian overlord, sees that he's getting angry and kind of makes him act polite. So gives him, even though this is like, you know, he's this mentally ill guy who identifies with superheroes, and this roach thing is his only shtick. She forces him in a castrating way to rip off the bug
so
ears. Good. And he's just, you know, this is, I mean, great cartooning, right?
This is so good.
How's this, again, there's an issue that you just pick up off the rack, and it's like, why is this fucking guy calling this nun lady a cunt so much, and realizing that there's such repercussions.
Setting the stage with like just everything in his pocket, anything that he can throw. He's just fully formed at this point. He's got layer upon layer. I mean, we're like in the Cerebus like story stratosphere now. We're kind of like getting back to the Middle Earth of it all, the society. And
I've heard this cool story about this barbarian aardvark. Well,
what didn't show up this issue.
All right, well, I'll sign up for the next one, certainly then. Oh, nope, you're reading about Oscar Wilde.
Yeah.
Why? Because Dave Sim got really into Oscar Wilde for this period.
So what's the story is he just now a fan of his authorship? Is he just into the story of Oscar Wilde?
I think my understanding is that he read Oscar Wilde stuff to like get the character for the Ditko'S story, and then just got really fixated on Oscar Wilde's life, which is very interesting, in the sense of this sort of social climber, dandy type who, literary figure that's held in high regards
he's like an all-time kind of legend.
Edgar Allan Poe or Jane Austen, those kind of names. But he died in he ultimately was killed by doing 2 years time in a work camp because he was found guilty of homosexuality, which is like, of course, a scintillating story. I think it maybe only it's only really interesting in the sense that he made really good work. Like, I don't think if Portrait of Dorian Gray and Importance of Being Earnest hit the way they did, because those are, to me, just great works of literature. Like, they do really hold up. They are very readable. They are very funny. They're
super fun. I've read the Dorian Gray one. And one other, there was like a collection of stuff that we read in high school, and that was super funny. And it wasn't like what you would think is British humor or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like it's got its own thing going on.
Jane Austen stuff I'll give you is kind of like, all right, yes. Yeah. Well, Mr. Bondevore, I find in this such place that you have placed us that I am of a mind, minds being as they are minds, and not a mind that is not a mind, to be with you on this evening tomorrow. Okay, it's like a little fucking flower.
Like the Three Little Women or whatever it's called.
I understand that, but Wilde stuff is just like fun to read, so I understand the attraction. And then you get into his life and you just want to tell the story about his last days. I found this section very interesting. So they're talking about reads, right?
Yeah.
Because we've done this strange thing where in the previous issues we had the fictional Oscar Wilde, or an Oscar Wilde type. I forgot his name.
He's what's his name? I forgot his name as well.
He's the stand-in for Oscar Wilde. But here we are to just roll with it. This is the actual Oscar Wilde.
That this is him. This isn't, you're not mistaking him. We have a quote in the beginning, and now he's talking about the analog to him making this story in this world that they both inhabit.
Yes. So he has read the reads.
He's read it.
Which are basically comic books, right? They're low art. And they're kind of questioning, like, wow, isn't it weird in this kind of like theocratic, like ultra-conservative matriarchy that these sort of scandalous stories are allowed to be told?
Yeah.
And
because of the license, right? Like, because is that what they're going to say? Well, like, he has the license to do it or something.
In a society where dissenting viewpoints are suppressed, those viewpoints are potent and dangerous. Where dissent is tolerated, it rapidly becomes quaint and viewed as unsophisticated. People merely amuse themselves with the expression of contrary opinion. They try on ideas and ideologies as they would a new hat or
Bottonaire or some shit.
Discarding them just as readily. Conformity then supplants awareness as the cornerstone of wisdom. Getting along becomes the highest ambition of the good citizen. Leaving the forces of true oppression, the permanent hierarchies, economic, religious, and political, those for whom power is not a means but an end of itself, to consolidate their, and then it gets cut off.
Whoa.
But it's like, bro, that is fucking... That's some shit. Like, they're kind of rolling over it. It's like, oh yeah, it's Oscar Wilde's talk. Blah 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 blah. It's like, whoa. I'm sorry. Let's roll that one back, because he's kind of saying that, like, if you were to suppress the expressions of these quasi-pornographic works, right, then it would be a genuine act of defiance to create them. Whereas if you permit them, then it becomes kind of fun. Like, oh look, we can poke fun at this these figureheads. We can kind of leer at them. They're not gonna like lock us up in prison. Then there's no stakes in it, and you ultimately dismantle the power of these subversive kind of mean, voices of dissent.
The power is like almost taken away from it, because you are allowing them. You're giving them, like, this is your line. Like, you can make something up until this line,
right? And
it's so fucking smart. And Dave Sim, what the fuck, man? Like, this, where, what, why?
It's a very profound statement. It's obviously still like very relevant, and this, like, we're all, I think, mentally abused by these algorithms where, we have to say, like, the person unalived himself and was essayed by some, all this fucking, like, brain rot fucking jargon, but can still kind of say we're allowed to express ourselves, but it's basically that expression is commodified and sold to us, and we're still really under the thumb of said algorithms and tech giants. We take for expressing ourselves on YouTube as like a legitimate, like, oh, look what I did. I made a video saying that I don't like Donald Trump, therefore I have freedom. It's like,
and I contributed.
You are fucking that is, it's almost worse to have that little bit of freedom, because it makes the expression benign. It's like, oh nothing. It's some other video of a guy talking shit on the president.
Nothing. And now it's like what they say. It's like a drop in the bucket, I guess.
While you're, of course, creating content for free to
push the same
most vile corporation who like essentially controls who gets to be in power and how the rules of power work. It's a fucking nightmare world.
It's the network. It's the network for the world right now, and it's scary. And we are also. It's not lost on us. We're contributing to that. Fuck you, YouTube.
So let's take a fucking minute to appreciate some Gerhard art.
But here it is. This is something that happened before all this shit. This is I would say a very voracious reader, and a very, like, Dave Sim. I'm starting to see more and more of the Sim-isms and the cracks, and not even cracks. I think he's just insulated. He's becoming more and more insulated, and I'm feeling a little more of, like, his personality is much more. I don't know if it's more forward. This is my favorite shit, man. I want to put the Cerebus stuff all in one zine and just see if that makes the story, because it's so good. It's so little of it in the full book, and it's enough for me. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah, so Cerebus is clearly shell-shocked from, everything that's transpired, and you're just seeing this, guy with severe PTSD, I guess he would say, just completely, numb. and he's kind of given one of these coins to this guy to kind of take care of him or whatever. And this coin, because of the inflation, has turned into this comical effect where they have firms that lend these things out, and it's like, I mean, it's
obscene riches,
kind of a Bitcoin if you think about it.
Actually, yeah,
like
one gold coin is worth him able to upgrade his bar.
Yeah, and and so of course he's willing to take care of Cerebus in this catatonic state and have his waitress bring him whatever he wants. And this is all happening, and then also Oscar Wilde is on.
And we're back to the real A story here.
And it's such this is also a fucking great story in itself. I think, I don't know, I've had my I was living with my grandma when she passed, and I think that's an interesting kind of story to tell. Maybe it just resonates with me personally. I think it's really good to read stories like that because, I don't know if you know this, everyone kind of fucking dies. Everyone you love is going to die.
I hope you know this.
Yeah, you're going to have to experience that. And I kind of feel like the more stories, specifically fictional stories you read where that happens, it's I don't know, in a way, like you're microdosing that tragedy so that when it hits, you're maybe a little better prepared. I think there's value in it. And we're bringing back old characters. Of course, that's Sophia's mom.
And they just walk past this cafe.
Undeterred.
It's so the cafe effect of this whole thing is so passive, and it's almost like Cerebus is left off in this weird between worlds kind of thing. Even though we've seen him in this spiritual world or in this other kind of world, he is still in an insulated space within. Now we're back on Earth. It's so interesting how he drives that.
Life is happening around him, and old characters just popping in.
I forgot about
just to
this guy,
let you know that they still exist.
All this stuff's still happening, and so this character's walking this way, and now we're going back.
So one of Oscar's friends, and you're just, these drawings of him and his last legs are great. You see the Jagger standing and how they're holding up in the
so crazy,
in the post-Cyranist world, and how they're adapting to the laws of it all. Such good cartooning,
it's
characters are great. Getting this the waitress being a hard ass is awesome. Love it all. And then interpose with all this kind of playing catch up and getting us into this world instead of isolating us before. We're still experiencing
so dark.
It's a slow death. In the final days of this literary figure.
And you get to that romance aspect, I think, a little bit between the guy sending the letters and Oscar. It's like an undertoned kind of thing. This is insane. This is so crazy.
He's sort of kind of haunted by the sins of his past of sort, if not seeing a vision of where the story is now. And of course, this is
the flip, right?
I want to say, this is Siren in a past life. And he's, instead of seeing Astoria, he's seeing Suentus Poe. Jesus Christ.
It's insane, man.
Real throwaway cut, but it's kind of showing you that they haven't abandoned it.
Yeah.
His little new waitress who's a little bit more affable, kind of chatty to Cerebus.
And it's almost like he just has to represent the women in this as a little bit annoying in their own way. He always has that weird ism.
But, they're never really... we're doing
He's covered in a tarp.
Doing some renovations. I don't know why you would think that's a fun thing to do, to talk about the negotiations of... I don't know why you would want to draw any of this.
It was 2 pages, too, of so much conversation.
There is nothing fun happening in here. It is just raw reality.
Yeah.
The waitress and Cerebus is kind of fun. It's kind of neat to see the other characters be brought back. Maybe it's fun to draw this kind of Cabbage Patchy girl and her kind of crushing on Cerebus just for being a good listener. Good lesson for the fellas. Just listen sometimes.
Yeah, just sit there and look off into the distance, be in your trauma cycle.
Yeah, and kind of just go along with it.
But still be responsive.
Yes.
Aye.
He's dusting him like a statue or whatever. Anyways, again, this is a story about Oscar Wilde.
Yeah. So actually, I did have a question. Who is this? Is this guy important at all?
Is that not the sheep farmer from the High Society?
Yeah,
who he had kind of
this part, like he throws no, he just like yells at him. Yeah,
good morning.
Because people are going, hey, didn't you want to lay low? You were the old pope. People are going to want you dead. And he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care. This was awesome. This sequence is my favorite out of the whole story.
Yeah, just this grueling process of.
This was cool.
And all this text is from actual letters written by Oscar's friends about his passing. So it's like historically accurate, but tragic.
Like that.
And why?
That's really sad.
I cannot understand why you would want to make a comic of this.
Yeah, is he trying to cope with something, or is he thinking about things in those terms? Like, he keeps bringing up the fact that Cerebus is going to die alone.
Right.
It's going to be a bad fate. Like, he is putting out his fate as horrible ends.
I don't know, man. My fan fiction, if you will, my gamer theory.
Yeah.
I just think this story was implanted onto Sim, and all Sim could do was transcribe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, in a way, like we're talking about these last two comics as these personal kind of like worldview pulpits, but like, I think this is something deeper. This is a very specific story that needed to get out, and kind of you get in a sequence like this is kind of like a jag where maybe you're not bound by this, like moving the story forward.
Kind of funny, man. Sorry, not to
cut you off. Him just kind of bossing around the contractor.
Yeah, Well, he's telling him. So what you're telling me, the original date, my money couldn't get me to that original date.
Right.
And so he's getting pissed at him for all this stuff. Is like, he thinks like his money can solve everything. It's obviously not going to solve this issue of getting the renovation done on time. And at the end of it, he just goes, did I mention that money is no object? Several times. It's just kind of funny. In between this kind of
horrifically tragic, small, personal story that, again, is not fantastical or personal.
It's the most grounded story, I think, in this whole series.
And it has nothing to do with anything.
No.
Completely divorced. But I don't know. I love that there's... I guess maybe
really cool.
It shows the reader that there is space to kind of like go off on tangents. And, the Sandman series, which came out well after this, like would do the same kind of thing. It was like, I'm talking about Shakespeare for a while now. But I don't know. I think Cerebus kind of did it better and earlier. And there's a lot more work put into building the background of this world where you can tell that kind of story. And I don't know.
This is a comic artist, top down, like writer, penciler, all of it. And dude, Mike Mignola fucking eat your heart out, dude. You've ripped this shit off, dude.
Is great.
Dude, even this stuff, like, was Mike Mignola doing like this like Victorian era work at this point?
Yeah.
Like, this is, I don't know. I'm just saying he definitely inspired some shit.
For sure. And like, yeah, it's
impactful. Like this, if you are a comics maker and you have heard about this is like, I don't know how to put it in music context or anything. It's just like it would be super inspiring and really freeing seeing somebody else publishing work like this.
For sure.
You're like making kind of like glorified graphic design in a way.
Yeah.
In like mainline comics or something. Or like, are the turtles happening at this point?
Yeah, for sure. At this section,
Yeah,
I want to say this is like if we're not in the early 90s, we're in the late 80s into the early 90s.
So I'm sure he's going, let the kids do those kind of stories. I'm going to tell what I want to tell.
And I mean, there is Swamp Thing. There is like all these smaller stories being told, but I don't know. Again, I just feel like this is, Jesus.
This was fucking awesome.
Harrowing. Again, if you've experienced, someone close to you passing of old age, it is a brutal, gut-wrenching experience, and like these kind of details us really drive that home. It's one of the most powerful portrayals of that I've seen in comics and
this was sad.
In media ultimately, and just this as a postscript and just a nice picture.
And it's kind of like sweet in between this death, like this vision of death, and like you just see Cerebus completely broken, Jaka's doll, and like this waitress who's now like is friendly to Cerebus, but it's kind of like I don't know, just
it has some kind of romantic feelings, but it's also like not necessarily the point. It's just
it's
the bonding.
Like the bonding, like almost like a trauma bond.
The tedious things that happen with death, all the business stuff. It's like, again, I don't know.
This part where all the authors and stuff. Yeah. So this is actual. This really happened, right? These three authors came to Oscar Wilde's funeral.
Raymond de la Tailhade, Turdeau, Charles Sibley. I don't actually know fucking
name their hits, guys. In the comments. I'm curious. That shit's crazy, man. They're bolting him in,
and then this is all happening. It's just to let you know, this is a Cerebus comic.
Dude, he's looking at the casket. That's such a sick frame, actually. I didn't realize.
Yeah, frame within a frame.
He's looking at the funeral casket, and this whole story has happened while he's just sat there.
Yeah, in this catatonic state. And we're just getting into it with old Oscar.
There's another.
And it closes out with his Oscar Wilde's actual tomb, which is just hard as fuck, right?
This was fucking sick, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and the reading goal, I think, was where he was in prison. So this is his home from jail as a work camp. And you've read the story where it is just vibes, right? Like just it's pacing, it's just slow burning kind of.
It feels like slow, but the moment by moment effect of like the slow death.
Yeah,
it's very effective, and I don't think it hits as hard if you skip over it. This was worth it. This is what I'm talking about right here.
So you put on your big boy pants. You learn some.
This is him giving the fanboys. All right, guys.
Small nuggets of just slice of life, catching you up with how the world is now in a post church and state ascension, and like he just kind of comes to. Or mentions they basically imply that Jaka is in jail prison somewhere, and this kind of creates the awakening. Yeah. Grabs the fucking sword, and it's just on. Like this is some fucking straight manga shit. Like,
dude,
pure action, like.
Visceral blood,
the amount of black on every page. These are like the ultimate totalitarian theocrats, and he's just slicing through.
This was so gnar,
pure
the bone,
dude.
It's so sick.
Pure, and this is the guy that just showed you the final
Oscar
days
Wilde.
of Oscar Wilde, surrounded by his friends.
And was this? Am I missing?
So it's like a flashback, and you can tell it's old Cerebus because the snout is too long.
Okay.
It's too long, and this is one of his guards, not the one who eats, but the other one.
Okay.
I forget their name.
Okay.
And so you're sort of seeing how they're old friends. He has the same kind of speaking, though, whatchamacallit. And he's explaining that these Cyranists, right, like this story that like one of them like bumps into one of them, and then they all sort of started chasing him, and he describes a slow campfire tale of this slow, horrific death. Once this guy who, bumped into one of the Cyranists or harmed one of them or pushed him or something like that, they all started swarming.
It's like a hive mind.
Yes, they have telepathic communication. And he's like, if I ever knew they were coming, I'd just slit my own throat. So you see him like, oh, I just killed one. Well, I guess I better.
That's what I'm talking
slit my own throat. He's reminded of the story of him dying alone, which he doesn't want to believe. And so thus all the fight or flight kicks in. He chooses to fight. And even with his own blood on his sword, what does this end with? Just a rampage.
It is so cool. It is so fucking cool to me. I don't know. It's like, after all this, I like his storytelling, but I gotta say, man, like, I'm almost like, just get to the chorus, dude.
Yeah.
This is the chorus shit. Like, just fucking give me more service. Like,
it's like, it's kind of like the pace is sort of,
it's definitely
there, like in Jakka's story, where it's like, grown-up story, personal story, and then like the last eighth of the book is, a reminder that you're in this like horrific action sequence. So we're on the covers here. This is the bug issue.
Wow. And so he made a diorama or something like that?
Yeah, I think. So this is Gerhard, I believe, drawing.
Nice.
Yeah, I did a paper diorama of these like 3 houses where this is taking place, just so that he could have a better idea of how to draw all the interiors and all that, which aren't easy at all. So you think of all that work that went on in the interiors.
Insane.
Like, why are these on a fucking comic shelf,
dude?
Next to fucking.
Let me make sure we're getting these in frame too, because these are. Oh yeah, we got them. Oh yeah, we're good.
Yeah, so this is just kind of a fun postscript.
The hair flip. It's like her character. Like, that's. So who's this one? Doris was a waitress at the Athenian restaurant. She wasn't quite as sweet as the Doris character, and Janice wasn't quite as nasty as the Janice character. They were characters just sort of based on, and then it just goes on. He's probably just talking just about people he knows or something. We're just having fun. But no, I don't know. I love this story. This is my favorite Cerebus story. Super cool, man. I think I really wish that the covers were maybe in there. And then it breaks up the pacing of everything. I could see that. I mean, there's no. It's argued and debated over time. How is the proper way to? Fuck yes. Yeah. Brutal. So sick. And then are these more? Oh yeah, I think we're onto a different. Now this is Mothers and Daughters 2. Yeah, which is I guess continued in the next one. Why did I have it so far out? I think I was just. Oh, I think I maybe confused myself of where I ended. Anyways, whatever. That's a sneak peek right there. R.I.P. the GOAT, Oscar Wilde. And we are next up. So I don't know. What's your final thoughts on Melmoth? Melmoth was a hell myth of a time. No, it was honestly such a reading the past 5 books. Yeah. I had the most fun with this one, even with how dark the story was. Yeah. I think that he really was. I'm not sure what the message was, really, honestly, but it was a really enjoyable story. I still got a little bit of like the main Cerebus story, like that progressed. And so for me, I'm still kind of in. I'm still like, not kind of in. I'm in. I'm like we always bring up, you can kind of separate the message from the work, or you don't have to internalize it. You just have to like almost witness it.
Right.
And I'm getting to that point where it's like, okay, this is some shit you got to kind of see, like it's like the car wreck kind of thing. Something, maybe it's ugly and it's hard to watch or hard to look at, but it's something it's not hard. I don't know how to explain it, because it's like, it's only tainted by what I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to justify a story where, women take over the world and subjugate men as like something that isn't a, some sort of like misogynistic, like fantasy or whatever. But I don't, and objectively, that is what happens in the story, but it's not like, I don't know. I have a hard time, if that's your main gripe, is like, boy, he sure portrays women roughly, at least at this point in the book. It's like, you're kind of missing the point, especially in a story like Melmoth, where it's
set in those days, right? Where
with that backdrop,
people weren't treated very well back then.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I guess I see it as more of a, theocratic totalitarianism than like a matriarchy in the strictest sense. It's sort of like, well, what would that look like? What would a, totalitarian matriarchy, what would that be? Yeah. It's just a thought experiment, I guess. And I don't know. Again, I feel like he's just communicating this world to us and showing us this world that he's in, and taking these side quests that are just so damn interesting to me. I think this is such a phenomenal, from a craft perspective, portrayal of the last days of an artist, and the kind of what happens after you're shocked in your personal life and the world is changing around you. Like, in a weird way, I just feel like he's just like giving us the CCTV footage. This is just a portrayal of this world that exists in his mind. And I don't really have like much in the way of like a value judgment on it, because it's like, how do you ascribe a value judgment to this world that's in a person's brain when they're choosing to share it with you and project it to you?
It is that, in that space where this isn't really a work that is being made as a product in mind. It
is definitely art.
It's more leaning on that art side of things, and I don't know if he cares in that front, because he's very like, outside of the comic, I know that he was very vocal about how he handled his business and how he was one of the greatest and most successful independent comic makers of his time. And I think that comes with a little bit of like freedom,
I mean, this is
to that point.
There's if you want to see a story told with absolute freedom and unhindered by any sort of like bowing a knee to commercial interests. I mean, they had to keep the boat afloat. It had to sell enough to make more. And at this point, it certainly was. But like, beyond that, I don't think there was any kind of concessions, any kind of compromise. It's a pure story told with pure intentions. And from an expression perspective, I think the reason he wanted comics to be independent and self-published and self-created is exactly to avoid all that, to avoid there's still the goddamn comics code. They're still basing their stories they can tell around whether or not the comic book can find its way into a grocery store. Like, it's crazy what the industry was like. And, it's one thing if you're like, oh, I think you should be able to show XYZ in your comics. I'm going to make a comic that shows XYZ. It's like, okay, great, you can express yourself, but what kind of story did you tell? What are you going to do with this platform? And he's built this platform for himself, and he's just telling such it's not a personal story, but it's telling this odd story in such a personal way.
Yeah, in this almost in this context of like, this is what I see for myself. Like, he's looking at this as like, damn, these are kind of, or I don't know if he's even seeing it in those terms, but like now knowing what I just want to show that quote of Cerebus. Oh, like the letters were back here too.
Yeah, that's all the back matter is him being like,
this
look,
is his research.
I'm just quoting these things and changing a few words and names around, but like these are just these are the letters that were written. Basically
contextualizing like the art, the stuff he made before. But I think he's like kind of meditating on this thought a little bit with this story, and seeing like there are people that will mourn him, or maybe he's trying to find that little bit of light in this dark glass kind of half empty world or something. I'm not sure. It's interesting. It's very interesting to see this dude's filtered view. His filter is on the page of like what he thinks life is about, and there's something to it every time. Yeah, and to me, this is, and it's strange to call it a peak when like nothing happens, because it is just vibes, Yeah. And it'll go up and down as the story progresses, as I recall it. But it's at least always interesting, and pretty much always interesting. But yeah, there is something just so. I just love that he was able to get to this point in the story where it's like, I just want to talk about fucking Oscar Wilde. Here's a goddamn chunk of comics dedicated to him dying. What a strange fucking phenomenon to get to do and express, but we're thankful for it. And next week, we continue the saga, Mothers and Daughters, Part 1, something like that. I don't know. This one, we'll just call this one Flight. Part 7. Boom.
We're almost there. We're grinding through.
Boom. We are more than halfway.
Nope.
No.
16 parts, my friend.
Oh, 16. All right. Well, we're almost more than a quarter of the way, at least. So catch us next week. Laters. Dang.
We're having a hard time staying in that 90 minutes, aren't we?
Yep. We are hitting